Welcome to the Komak Japan Podcast, a series about real-life experiences in real-world Japan, hosted by Messi Sensei, JD, and yours truly, Andres. Last week, we decided to discuss and share our personal stories of how we got started in Japan, how we got ourselves established, and what motivated us to come to Japan in the first place. For today's episode, we will be continuing that discussion as well as ultimately come to the point where how we ended up leaving Japan and for the various reasons why we did so. Essentially kind of describing how we started and how we ended our Japanese experiences. So to lead the charge is our good old host, Messi Sensei.
Last week, we talked about how we end up going to Japan and start our life and settle down. So maybe I can continue a little bit of my experience after I got settled down in Japan. The first thing that I always wanted to talk about, it was how easy for me it was to find apartment in the city that we were living, Gifu, as well as how accommodating was Japanese universities to give us an accommodation, a very, very cheap price and very clean. So it was a very easy experience and pleasant experience because I didn't have to struggle too much. All I had to do was to send them an email and tell them when I'm arriving. Then the place was already booked. What I would like to say is that I found this in Japan that when I got to Gifu University, I had so many luggages with me, right? I traveled with luggages. I had my stuff with me. And I had a personal tutor that he was supposed to help me to settle down in Japan because obviously I didn't speak Japanese at that time. So when I got to my tutor with a lot of luggages, he was supposed to show me where I have to go to Kaikon or the building that I was supposed to leave. Then he didn't offer any help. I had so many luggages and stuff with me. He didn't even offer a help to carry one of my bags or stuff. Then fast forward, living many years in Japan, I realized in Japan, this is not a custom or a habit or culture to help other people. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I think Japanese assume this is your business, take care of it, right? I'm not going to step in your boundaries. If you need help, ask for it. If you don't ask for it, then I'm not going to help you at all. It happened so many times to me in Japan, especially when I saw some old ladies carrying heavy things going down the stairs in the stations. They didn't ask for help, but when I was offering help, they also refused to accept my help. And also when I was in the train, I offered my seat to some elderlies, and also they refused to take my seat. So that was a very interesting experience for me living in Japan. So I don't want to talk too much about this, but this is my experience of why Japanese seem to be not very helpful or offer helps because they're waiting for you to ask for it. So I was a little bit shocked because I live in different countries. I was always offered help when I needed help, right? I didn't ask for it. People just come, do you need any help? So for example, once also I fell down and I almost broke my leg. And people were just watching me. Nobody got even close to me to help. Everybody just passed, right? Mm-hmm. So, then I learned that, I need to ask for help. Otherwise, they're not going to do anything.
Oh, yeah. That's certainly a thing about Japanese culture where everyone minds their own business to a fault, where pretty much it's like, nobody wants to intrude or interfere in other people's affairs. So especially, whether it's on the streets, whether it's in the train, on buses, or in a shopping mall, everyone keeps to themselves. Nobody bothers each other, which is good because, for a lot of people, I know a lot of people out there, they don't like social interaction, or they're more, how would you say, introverted. Mm-hmm. They don't want to, be approached by random strangers. You don't get any of that in Japan, but at the same time, like Messi said, if you're used to that helpful hand, that friendly stranger to come by and offer you support, just very rarely do you come across anything like that, except maybe if you are in Tokyo, where you might find people who are more willing to say, hey, do you need help with something? It looks like you need help. Mm-hmm. But in the Japanese countryside where we lived, there is definitely a less of that. It's just everyone's sort of like isolated. Everyone is in their own little world, their own little bubble, their dome, which is nice to have that privacy, but also at the same time, it's like it kind of feels very like you're secluded from the rest of your community. It almost feels like there's not really a community. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just because of the language barrier, the cultural barrier, but because of that lack of interaction with each other between strangers, it kind of feels like more of that isolated that feeling of isolation. Whereas in America, I can just strike up a conversation with literally anyone off the street. I remember when I came back from Japan for Christmas one year, and I just struck up a friendly conversation with the cashier at a gas station, which is something that would never happen with a konbini cashier in Japan, even if I was fluent in Japanese, I feel. And so
Yeah.
it's little details like that that are very important in terms of like just the overall day-to-day experience of living in Japan.
I should add this one also. It doesn't mean Japanese people are not helping each other or they are not helpful, but I think there is a very good system in Japan that I really appreciate it, is that everybody minds their own business.
Oh yeah, it's
And
definitely like
yes,
it's not that they're cold. It's like
it's not
they're
cold.
respectful.
Yes,
Yeah, they're very respectful to each other and their
yes.
personal space.
And also, I think this is I learned this. I know this. I respect this. That in Japan, everybody is in charge of one thing, and they do it very good, and you don't have to do it. For example, if I broke my leg there, these people are not professional helping me, right? Instead, I should have called, for example, the ambulance to come, or emergency, whatever, to come and help me, right? So I think in Japan, everybody's in charge of something, and they do it good, and they take care of everything. So you don't need to go there, bother people. You're not even professional, healthcare provider, right? So you don't need to go there and, just bother that person.
Oh yeah, it's like everyone plays their part in society. Everyone is given a role in society, in their society. Everyone is like a cog in a machine, in a well-oiled machine. Yes. And it's like it's your duty as a contributing member of society to serve that specific function as that specific cog in the machine.
Exactly. So anyway, this topic is very broad. I think we can keep talking about this. Well, do you have anything to add, JD?
Yeah, I was going to. Okay, so yeah, I think there's going to be probably a lot of people who hear what we're saying, and it's going to like, they might be a bit confused, because I think when people watch YouTube content regarding Japan, they usually see a bunch of things about how helpful Japanese people are. But you tend to notice that a lot of what they're talking about is, it's like you look like you're lost somewhere. You're in the station. You look like you don't know where you're going. So like a Japanese person may approach you at that time. I found that when I was like teaching as an ALT at a public school, that this is like something that they're kind of trained to do in their English classes, or just in general. I don't know if it's just in general, like in their family, but for sure in the English classes, it's like, directions was on a very oddly, for me, was like oddly specific. They were very trained in directions in English in particular, right? And it stands out because all the other topics for their English classes are they kind of just go through the motions and just go through the textbook and just do the work. But when it comes to directions, the activities expand. All of a sudden, the teacher actually actively encourages them, like, hey, like, in the future, when you see like a foreigner who's lost in the middle of this station, like you have to learn this English so you can go and help them.
It's like the equivalent of like, ¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Yeah. Well, in this case, they're like actively training them to go and help foreigners. So they're like getting them ready to like, I don't know, it's almost like militant in a way. So I think they brought up to do that kind of thing. And that's kind of what like foreigners who don't know any Japanese, or people who are making those videos, half the time they don't know any Japanese, or they usually need help, or tourists. Like, I think they would believe that, oh yeah, Japanese people like are really helpful. And then every now and then you'll get that one person who like will grab you by the hand and take you all the way to the station, right? But it's always revolves around like finding your way back somewhere. Like what Messi was describing is more like helping with luggages, or yeah, totally. I know people who straight up passed out on a train or something, and when they wake up, like there's nobody near them, like they totally just leave them alone. And then yes, I do believe it's because they're just not going to get involved with something that they know how to handle. And then a lot of the times, like we were all saying, it's kind of like they don't want to be shamed by receiving outside help. Like, oh, I couldn't control my body to the point where I needed, oh my gosh, where I needed somebody to come and assist me. Like it's very shameful for a lot of the people. They feel really bad that they couldn't control their body to the point where they pass out. For us, I think for a lot of us, we're going to think like, hey, well, there was nothing I could do. Like, it's okay. You don't have to like beat yourself up about it. But I think a lot of them do beat themselves up.
Oh no, absolutely. Like they're always concerned. I know this is a generalization, but it's like, again, based on what I have seen in the 6 years that I lived there, it's like they are constantly worried about how they are being perceived by the people around them. And so the last thing they want to do is to embarrass themselves or to make anyone around them uncomfortable.
Yes. So I think everything kind of just stems from that, like from what you just said, right?
Meanwhile, like for most Westerners, we're like the complete opposite. We don't care what anyone thinks about us and what we do.
Right. I've always been way more like Japanese people, which is, I think that's really why after just a year, I started to click with them as soon as I started to understand the language more and started to realize, oh, this is how they are too. I realized like, oh, I've been more like a Japanese person my entire life than I guess like your typical American. So it was really easy to understand these concepts right away, which did help me a lot in Japan. But yeah, for sure. I mean, you could actually strike up a conversation with somebody at the convenience store or someone at the restaurant, but you're gonna have to get the right person, right? There are Japanese people who would get a kick out of that. Of course, you get a bunch of them who would just like they'd like awkwardly smile and try to remove themselves from the situation as quickly as possible. You will get like
they just really want the conversation to end. It's like, please go away, sir.
Yeah, you'll definitely get people like that. I've gone to a bar and I've sat next to a Japanese person and he like he grunted at me because he didn't want like a stranger, let alone a foreigner, sitting that close to him. So you get those extreme people like that, but you also get the people that like if you go in there and you're like, hi, it's like really hot today, isn't it? You'll actually get the cashier to respond, and a lot of it does have to do with that you're not Japanese. Like they might be a little bit more comfortable letting them what they actually think. They might actually reveal that to you, feel more comfortable revealing that to you. But
right. But I'm assuming you would have to be the one to initiate that conversation.
Yeah, but yes. Like 95% of the time, sure. But every now and then I'd get like a Japanese person that would say something. It also depends on where you're going. Like convenience store, it's like they're used to the in and outs. Like everyone's just quickly going in and quickly leaving and going about their day. But if you go more into either hole in the walls or you go somewhere where they don't expect like someone to walk in there, like a young person, or you're also not Japanese, they might try to strike up a conversation with you. So it just depends on where you're going. If you always stick to the routine stuff, like convenience store, chain restaurant, big camera, electronic stores, department stores, it works like clockwork. But if you go off the beaten path, which would require it would require pretty high level fluency. At least conversational Japanese, you could get those that experience that you would find more in America, where someone might just strike up a random conversation.